Hey there, good morning, Aries. All right, first card out, Page of Blades, but in the upright. So that is good. That it means you are planning something, possibly. We'll find out more, okay? We'll find out more. We have the Star card coming out in reverse. Maybe you made a list, but you haven't started on them, okay? So until you get started on them, things are not going to happen. Huh, okay. Spirit, give us a clear, concise message here for Aries. Please and thank you. Okay. Give us a clear, concise message here for Aries. Let's see what else comes out. Don't forget to click on that like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Look how it flipped out. That's the final card. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment. It helps the channel. Okay, and then we have some extras here. Let's see. Well, not extras, but it's just a longer reading. That's all. Basically, when you have more cards, because usually I only take 10, right? But when I get more cards, it just means that it's going to be a more detailed type of reading. You know what I mean? It just means it's going to get deeper, right? Tell me more about the stars energy. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Okay, I was going to say that. Okay, so that's interesting that came out because I was just thinking that when I was looking at the cards. Okay, Aries, let's get started. It looks like you might have Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius in your chart, but you don't have to. But it does mean that you are in that energy, okay? You are in that air type of energy where, well, definitely as a page, it's where you're going to start something new, first of all. And it's not just that, but it's more of you wanting to think more logically about things, use your head more, maybe writing lists, like planning things out, but making lists, right? Making goals for yourself, but also taking them in steps. You know, like what would be the most logical thing to do next, right? That kind of thing. I think you're getting a different perspective about things, okay? Like, just a different perspective of different areas of life. It'll become clear as we go, guys. um, that's what I'm getting. I feel like you're a very open-minded person. You know, when it comes to new ideas, new plans, new just new ideas. I think you're just very open-minded and you're in this energy of wanting to learn, which I think is beautiful, you know? I always say that if you're not learning, then you're dying because in life you should be learning, right? It don't matter if you're 80 years old, you should be learning. You should be learning something new all the time. If you're not learning, then I think personally, this is just my theory. This is just my theory. Um, I used to be a nurse, okay, and I've worked with Alzheimer's patients, and I have people who have, this in my family, and strongly feel, okay, and this is just my theory. I'm just gonna say it. I strongly feel that when people are not continuously learning new things and challenging themselves mentally, that it's like a muscle. Our brain is like a muscle. This is just my theory, okay? I don't have any sponsors that are gonna, support me and, you know, for me to like find evidence of my theory, right? This is just my theory. I noticed that the patients that I had that didn't have these, or the people in my family that don't have Alzheimer's or dementia, are normally people who are always learning. They're always very engaged in, whatever's going on in our politics, what's going on in the world. They are constantly reading. That was just my observation, okay? So that's where my theory's coming from, okay? Anyways, so what I'm hearing is you're in that energy of wanting to learn or learn something new here. That's what I was getting. Um, You might be a kind of person who loves to learn, and you're coming out as a very ambitious person. For one of you, I'm hearing you might be going into something new, like a new career, complete change, right? A complete change. There is something about you getting educated. So maybe this could be like you educating yourself, learning yourself, like getting books or learning something online, or this could be like official, like you going back to college, right? Something like that, or going to trade school, right? Something like that. But you are in this energy of like you're thirsty for knowledge. You know, you just your mind is open and you're ready to receive, right? That's what I'm getting. Very curious person, very inspired person. Okay. So, also very confident, I just want to say. I am seeing here that something happened, okay? I'm getting that something happened. It might have something to do with you not being healed about something. Um, there is lovers in reverse over here. So it does look like there was some kind of trauma. Anytime you go through a breakup or something like that, it's always traumatic. Whether even if you're the one that engages, like you're the one that's like, hey, let's break up, right? It's still going to be a traumatic event because that person's no longer going to be around, right? There's different levels of trauma, right? The thing is I'm seeing here that you haven't healed from something. Looks like it could be a person, okay? It's like you haven't processed something, or you just haven't gotten over this person. This person could have Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio in their chart. But in this process, though, the way that you're looking at things and you're looking back at things, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful because what I'm seeing here is like you're finally getting something out, like off your shoulders, right? Like you're finally getting something off your shoulders, or you're finally getting yourself out of some kind of mindset that has been holding you back for a long time. Does not have to be a romantic situation, guys. This could be like, you broke up with your best friend, or you're no longer talking to your cousin, something like that, right? Doesn't have to be romantic. But I am seeing here that you are learning to love yourself, prioritize yourself, and at the same time, while you're doing this, see, I feel like that's what it is that you're learning. You're learning how to take care of yourself, love yourself, prioritize yourself. Maybe you were in a situation in the past where, you weren't prioritized, or maybe you felt like you weren't important. And the way that you're looking back, and the way that you're behaving now, and the way that you're looking at things differently now, it makes me feel like somebody treated you like you weren't important, or they made you feel like you weren't important. This could be somebody who didn't how do I say this, like, didn't validate your feelings. You see, somebody who, like, when you complained about something, or you felt like something wasn't right, or whatever it was that you felt something, this person did not validate it. As a matter of fact, they might have said something to you to the effect like, don't overreact, Aries, or why are you overreacting? Why or making you feel like, you were foolish for feeling in a certain kind of way. Either making you feel like you shouldn't be feeling what you're feeling, right? Making you try to hide your feelings, right? Make you feel like, it wasn't important, your feelings about something wasn't important, something like that, right? Now it's like you are having to give yourself permission now to be able to feel. And this might be something that you're noticing, something that you have noticed about your past, that you weren't allowed to cry, or you weren't allowed to have certain emotions. Um, and for one of you, this could be something that stems from your childhood where, maybe you had a parent. Let me see. Specifically, a father figure. Maybe you had a father figure. This might be for one of you, where with this person, you weren't allowed to have emotions. Or when you did have emotions, they weren't validated. So, but now you're finally starting to heal. See, it's weird how trauma works, right? Because when you go through trauma, even though this could be a breakup, that might be for one of you, right? A breakup. This trauma could actually, it's like a pile of leaves, right? You have a pile of leaves and you finally like packed it in and you raked it up and it's like this beautiful hill, right? Then you go through a trauma. What happens is like a bull going through those leaves and just like pew, everything just flies up in the air. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like everything just gets scattered, right? And then you end up having to face one trauma will lead you to another trauma of your past, right? It's the way the brain works. It's like your brain automatically associates one experience with another experience that you've already experienced. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I can't give an example, but um so anytime you go through any kind of experience, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's always your brain is always going to associate that with another experience. So for at least one of you or a handful of you, you went through a breakup, and that associates the way that you were treated during this relationship is being associated with your father figure. Okay, stepfather, uncle, whoever it was that was a significant male in your family, or, well, not necessarily a male, let me rephrase that. A significant parental figure in your life, okay, because we do have the father figure. Yeah, it was the father. So your father was one of those people who more likely wasn't affectionate, um, didn't validate your feelings, more likely, neglected you, okay, because of their energy. Could have been the kind of person who neglected you, or they just were always emotionally tapped out. Like, you would be around this person all day long. Both of y'all are just watching TV, hanging out at home, not doing nothing, and hardly speak a couple of words to each other. Just completely, I want to say like avoidant, just avoidant type of person, just avoids everybody around them, right? So, and that's why I'm seeing you as looking back here, unhealed, still unhealed, but processing and moving forward, right? Processing, loving on yourself, getting out of a mindset, changing your mindset, changing the way that you feel about something. Maybe you have been feeling trapped or something like that, but getting out of that. You know what I mean? Getting out of that. Especially if this father figure passed away, okay? Because this father figure could have passed away a long time ago. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not funny, but that's how it's coming out. Like a long time ago. This is a father figure who passed away a long time ago. I don't know what a long time ago is. I'm trying to look. Well, 6 years. Mm, let's see. Well, I'm getting 6 years, but I don't know. It could be further than that, longer than that. Okay. Anyhow, so it's that was traumatic for you. That was the life that you lived. So you lived with somebody, but not really lived with somebody. In other words, like you were there around your father figure, this father figure, but not really having a relationship with them. Okay. So what happened was there's something here that happened where you broke up with a lover, right? Went your own way, and it's brought up that old stuff. So what happens is because it brought up some old trauma, you're dealing with that present trauma, past trauma. So then what happens is it takes longer for you to heal. So that's why I'm saying this might be something that happened years ago, and even this person's passing could still be a traumatic event that you're still having to go through. So basically, you have a lot of things going on at the same time. Okay, could be a grandpa too. I don't know if I said that. Grandpa, grandma who was in a masculine energy, right? Could also be an Aries, okay, or somebody who had Aries in their chart, a parent who had Aries in their chart, something like that. I see something about fairness, about something about fairness is something that really bothers you. Maybe you just never felt like you were treated fairly, you know, and then you grew up and got into a relationship where you still weren't treated fairly. You know, so something about fairness is a very significant thing for you. Okay. Now, Aries, I'm hearing that you are about to get into a cycle where you are about to be really busy. Okay. Um, and that I feel like that's why you're making a list because you are about to become a very busy person. Okay. So let's go ahead and dig deeper and see where this is going. But that's what I'm hearing. So Spirit is saying, get ready, get your notebooks, get your papers out, because you're gonna be very busy and you're gonna want to like stay on top of things. You know what I mean? For one of you, this was a new love. I just want you. This was your This could be like your first love. I don't know if I said it earlier, but this could have been like your first love, your first husband, your first boyfriend, something like that. Okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because since then, for a couple of you, you've already remarried since this person, right? Like maybe you've remarried one or two times already since this relationship ended. Okay, that's why I'm bringing that up. Like this was like your first love, like your first person that you lived with. This was the first person you were married to, or something like that. Okay, and that's something that maybe you have healed from the past marriage, but you haven't healed from this marriage or this relationship. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how trauma works. It's strange, but it's true, right? It just works that way. Something about red hair might be significant. Reddish brown hair might be significant. It could be natural or dyed. That might be significant. I do see you like leaving this mental state of processing the stuff and what somebody said to you and what that person did to you and how that person made you feel. I mean, like you're processing all this stuff, but you are gradually, and it might be something that's going on really slowly. Okay, it's not something that's really fast, but it is a slow process where you're slowly moving forward. And guess what? You're leaving that part of you in the past, and you're moving to a location where you're going to have more peace, more I want to say peace, but it's also like where you're going to feel safe, where you're going to be able to grow and blossom. Because what happens when people are in a location, but even though I'm talking about mentally right now, right? But when you are in a location, mentally or physically, when you don't feel safe, it's hard to heal. I mean, it's basically impossible to heal, right? This is mental, but it could be physical, okay? It's showing with the Six of Swords energy. It's usually meaning mental, but it could be physical, like you physically moving away from a situation and processing everything at the same time, and also learning to love yourself, prioritize yourself, validate yourself. You know, your feelings are important. Spirit wants me to tell you that your feelings are important. Your feelings, you have a right to have your feelings. That's what Spirit wants me to tell you. You have a right to have your feelings. You have a right to feel. That is your human right. Yes, somebody took it away from you. Somebody made you feel ashamed to have feelings. Somebody made you feel like you shouldn't have them or you should repress them. But Spirit wants me to tell you that you have a right to have feelings. You have a God given right, His given right to feel the way that you feel. Whatever it is, you have a right. Just the same way as you have a right to your own opinion. It is your God given right. Okay? I don't know who needed to hear that, but apparently somebody did. Okay? All right, but you are moving on, okay? I'm also hearing that it is a transition, and I'm also hearing that you are going to be getting things your way. The more and more that you move into a safe space mentally and possibly physically, the more and more things are going to start coming together. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Like, you're going to be, things are going to start coming together, and things are going to start working out in your favor. Things are going to start working out to your liking, right? This is kind of like you moving into a new apartment, and you get to decorate your new apartment with anything that you want. That talks, that says, this is Aries' house, right? Like, say if you love angels and you're going to put angels all over the walls, you could do that. It's kind of like you going through a nesting period. I call it nesting period. I don't know what it's called, but I call it a nesting period. Like how you're going to fix something up, right? So if this is mentally, you're mentally fixing up your new mental state where your mind is going. That's what I'm seeing. Like you are, so if you visualize it, it's like you getting your new apartment and you get to decorate it any way you like, right? You're moving from one mental state of mind to another mental state of mind. And Spirit is saying that it's okay to decorate that. In other words, you can fill this, you can fill up this new mental state with anything that you choose. Now it's your turn to choose. See, the old mental state, when you were in a dark place mentally and you were processing all this trauma, you didn't really have a choice, okay? Because you were dealing with trauma that other people put you through, right? But now that you're moving out of that mental state and out of that darkness into something that is more pleasing for you, more, I want to say like, well, pleasing to you, yes, but peaceful, safe, like being in your safe zone mentally. Now you could fill it in and decorate it, decorate your mind, okay, with anything you want, right? And that's where learning, studying something is very imperative here, okay? So Spirit wants you to take that or take this opportunity because, and what I am understanding from it is because life is messy, okay? Like Spirit is saying, take this opportunity now to decorate your mind with the things that are going to bring you pleasure or are going to feed into your curiosity, help you learn things because that's what it's coming out like, right? Do it now because life is messy, right? And there's going to be another trauma coming down the road. And this is for everybody because it's life. You're going to go through ups and downs in life. It's just the way it is, right? So Spirit wants you to take advantage of this period now while you still can. Okay? Whew. I don't know why when I'm getting downloads like this, it drains me. Okay, so that's what Spirit wants me to tell you. Okay? Take advantage of it now. Okay? All right, so let's get back to this. Now, um, what was I saying? There was something I wanted to say. Mm. Okay, Aries. Um, I see it. Now, Aries, you're coming to a split in the roads. Okay, so this means like you're gonna have a decision, important decision, that is going to be imperative to your destiny, to your path in life. In other words, it depends, you know, in other words, your life is about to change. Okay, you could choose the right, you could choose the left, right? But it's going to be a significant change. That's the point. It's going to be a significant change. So, Spirit wants you to get into this safe zone as quickly as possible. Let you know what's going on. You need to get into the safe zone. Love yourself, of course. Take care of yourself. Do all the things that you're doing here. Build up your confidence in everything that you're doing before you get to this period where you're going to need to make an important decision. You need a clear head so you can choose wisely of which direction you want to go into. Okay? Um, Especially for you who you have built a wall around you. Okay? I see here that you might be walking around constantly in this energy of like always feeling defensive or always feeling like you need to protect yourself, you know? So, yeah, I'm getting that kind of energy. Like you might always feel like you need to protect yourself. For one of you, you might have a hard time either wanting a relationship with somebody, and I'm not talking about romantic, it doesn't have to be. I'm talking about just making friends, right? Or it could be romantic, but like you might struggle with the idea or actually having a relationship with somebody, right? Like the whole idea of getting close to somebody might be something that is very uncomfortable for you because of your past experiences that you've been through, okay? Now, we do have the teacher coming out in reverse. So, there is something here that needs to be learned that you haven't learned, okay? I do feel very strongly for one of you. You are definitely changing like a generational curse in your family, okay? Where one generation from the other generation, so like the way that your father figure here or this parent treated you, it was something that was passed from one generation to the other. It was a learned behavior, okay? It was a learned behavior, and it was one that was never understood that it wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? Like it was never. In other words, this person could not teach you something that they never learned. That's what I'm understanding. Like this person could never teach you something that they never learned. So they never were able to validate their own feelings and emotions, right? And they were not able to develop close relationships, okay? So you might be suffering now with feeling defensive and where you're having a difficult time creating or maybe even wanting a close friendship, a close friend. Okay? At least that's what I'm getting. So in other words, you are the person in your family line who's going to make the change. You're changing the curse in your family. You're going to be the person who's going to develop a healthy self-esteem, a healthy mindset, and you're going to pass that on to your children. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. At least that's the feeling I'm getting from this. Okay. So, and there is an important decision that's coming, and it very well could be something to do with a relationship. That's what I'm getting. Hmm. But it's saying here that you would prefer to be alone. So, like, even if you're invited to a party, you might not go. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if you're. Excuse me. I'm not really sure if you're the one that's going to be canceling this. Like, are you the one that is going to be canceling this celebration? Or are you just gonna not show up? Either or. Um, you are coming to a split in the roads. Before you get to the split in the road, Spirit is saying to go ahead and take time to rest. Okay? Because that's what I'm getting. It's time to go ahead and take a rest, take a break. Um, and not to do something in indulgence. That's what I'm hearing. Like, don't do something in indulgence. Don't overdo something. So it could be like, don't overdrink, don't overeat, don't drink, don't be a workaholic. I mean, it could just be just about anything. Like, don't do anything in excess. You want to have a nice balance. You need to like, well, kind of like pampering yourself is what I'm getting. Pampering yourself, taking a break, taking a rest. It's showing more of like a mental rest. Like, take a mental rest. That's what I'm hearing. Spirit is saying to take a mental rest, clear your head. Yes. So yeah, you might be canceling a celebration, or you might be just not going. But Spirit is saying to whichever way, whichever way you're gonna do it, right? Like even if you plan to go ahead and go at the last minute, make sure that you're getting your rest. Make sure you have a clear head. Let's find out why. Because of the split in the roads. Stay away from overindulgence. That's what it's saying. Oh, tell me more about this split in the road, Spirit. What is this? What is it? Ace of Wands in reverse. Tell me more, Spirit. What is this about? This split in the roads. Okay. Ooh, you ask Spirit and you get the whole book, right? Get a whole book here. It's not going to be something that's given to you. Okay, this is going to be something is happening here where you're the one that's going to have to do it yourself. Okay. Whoa. What? Okay, hold on, guys. This is a big one. Okay. Let me decipher what this is. Definitely going to be something that you are going to have to do yourself. It could be this split in the roads might actually be sparked by some kind of unexpected bad news. Okay, like somebody calls you and like, oh, maybe you're in debt or something, right? Whatever the bad news is, it's some kind of bad news, and because of this bad news, I see you as jumping up and taking action, right? But I see you with this energy of the Page of Wands energy, like being very inspired to get something done, ready to take action. But with the Knight of Cups energy, it's like you're going to be swept away with an emotion, right? So I'm getting like you're going to be swept away with this emotion of moving something forward, being very energetic, wanting to start something new, right? But then you're going to be slapped with something that is going to end up blocking you, right? Hmm. I actually see you here wanting to be rebellious. That's how it's coming out. You're going to be swept away with this emotion, but you're going to want to be rebellious, or you're gonna want to rebel, like, because there is a split in the roads, and it's saying it again. There's a split in the roads here. There is a decision that needs to be made. Okay, it's saying it again, like you're gonna have a decision that needs to be made, but there is something here where you're gonna be rebellious, and you're not gonna want to do something here because of this inner conflict that you're gonna have about this bad news. This is what's gonna spark the decision that needs to be made, right? The split in the roads. This is where you're about to make that final decision that needs to be made here. But it has to be a conscious decision, okay? It's not something that can happen to you. You actually have to be the person to make this decision. Why? Because there's going to be a consequence to every decision. There's a consequence, right? You're the one that's going to have to pay the piper. So it's imperative that you go down this path, and you have to be the one that makes the decision here, it's saying. And the reason why, it looks like it's because of this person in your life, or a person who's been in your life. Well, it very well could be that parental figure back there. Okay, somebody that you have had to overcome. Okay, so that would make sense. Okay. This could be like representing that person, somebody that you had to overcome, somebody who was very manipulative or controlling. Maybe they made very poor decisions in their life, and now it's making you question whether you are able to make a solid decision, right? For one of you, you had two bad parents. Okay, so you didn't just have one bad parent, but you had two bad parents. Two parents who neglected you. So it wasn't just one person, it was actually two, which has caused you to hesitate, okay? And maybe even not really trust your own your own decisions, okay? Maybe because you saw them making decisions and you saw them making the wrong decisions and getting themselves into some kind of trouble, especially when it comes to the law, okay? Because it looks like they had to see the judge quite often, okay? Let's go back to this. So you being rebellious here. This could also be you thinking about doing something that is against the grain of something. You okay, so I don't understand what exactly it could be, but it's like you going against the grain of something or doing something that's non-traditional. Just being rebellious, feeling like you need to oppose somebody, okay? Protect yourself is coming out at the end here, right? Like you need to protect yourself. Aries, you might need to go ahead and get a lawyer. That might be for one of you, okay? And it might be about a legal matter, okay? That might be something that you need to make a decision about, but of course you need to get all the information first before you do it. For another one of you, this might have something to do with something totally different about you needing to make a decision, but also at the same time needing to cut out any kind of excess of anything in your life. It could be whatever it is that is an excess in your life, right? Maybe you have a huge collection of plates, let's just say, right? And your house is full of plates, and Spirit is saying, okay, it's time to clean house, right? Something like that. It's time to get your house in order, get things in order, cut through the BS. That's what I'm hearing. It's time to cut through the BS, and it's time to speak some kind of truth. Say some kind of truth, speak some kind of truth. That's what I'm getting. Speak up, say something. Hmm. Yeah, because you might be facing a judge yourself and you're going to have to speak up to this person. You're actually going to have to defend yourself. And yeah, for one of you, we possibly are going to be hiring a lawyer for something here. So this split in the roads has something to do with all of this. So this split in the roads also has something to do with this over here as well. So Spirit is saying to make sure that when you speak, okay, be very clear, be very direct. You don't want to go off into things that are not important. You might find yourself in a situation where you might feel compelled to like over explain things, like explain the details of things. Um, Spirit is saying don't do that, okay? Just answer the questions as as natural as you can, but also as not going overboard, like not over explaining something, okay? If the judge needs to ask you a question, let them ask you a question, right? Um, but that's what I'm getting. But this is going to lead to that. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. I'm seeing here that you have definitely known loss in your life. You have definitely learned the skill of overcoming the things that were supposed to break you. You are unbreakable, Aries. I want you to know that. You are unbreakable. Yes, mentally, you could find yourself in a dark place like everybody else, right? Um, but when it comes to down to who you are as a person, I'm hearing you are unbreakable. You're actually a very strong person. You're a very strong person. I don't see you like falling apart or anything like that. I just see you becoming very busy in this next chapter, very busy, and having a clear head is what's going to help you. Okay, so Spirit is saying make sure you get enough sleep. That's why Spirit wanted you to get enough sleep because you're going to be seeing a judge. So definitely get enough sleep. Okay, maybe if you're having insomnia or something like that, maybe not the day before you have to go to court or the day before you have to go see this judge. Maybe like a couple of days before, maybe get some sleeping pills or go for a long walk. Make sure you're getting your sleep, you're getting your rest. Because Spirit is saying that you need to have a clear head, and you're gonna be like somebody's gonna be talking to you and explaining things to you, and you're gonna need to be on your feet because they're gonna expect you to make a decision about something. Okay, and you need to be able to think clearly, see clearly. This is why it's imperative that you rest. Okay? Get enough rest before this happens. So, you probably are going to be receiving a message, maybe in the mail or something like that. And let's find out how this is going to turn out for you before I let you go. So, if Aries does this and takes the rest, how's this going to turn out for Aries, Spirit? Please and thank you. You're gonna have to pay a bill or fine or something like that. Okay, that might be for one of you. It's gonna actually cause you some kind of struggle here. I'm seeing. It might have something to do with your home, about a home, or something to do with your family. Okay. Yes, you're gonna have to pay, and yes, it's going to be a loss for you. Okay. So there is gonna be a struggle, but it's all about your attitude, of course, right? It's all about your attitude, how you see things. And it seems like that is going to be the difference here. It's about your attitude. So getting enough rest, paying off this fine, and it's all about your attitude. Now, for one of you, you might find this judgment to be unfair. Okay? You might feel like you are the victim in this situation. You might feel like you have been betrayed here. You might even have somebody lying about you, gossiping and lying about you, but specifically lying about you to this judge. Okay? Because you do have somebody around you that is being sneaky. So this court situation could have something to do with somebody lying about you and spying on you. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm getting. So it might be something like they are, watching you. Maybe you get disability, or it could be well, it's something to do with your finances. That's why I'm thinking like disability, retirement. I can't think of what else it could be, but let me know in the comments because I can't think of what else it could be, but it's something that you are getting and somebody's lying about you and you're going to end up being heartbroken and you're going to end up having to pay a fine. So that's why I'm thinking it might be that, okay? All right, Aries, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this reading. Catch me in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. This was it was a deep reading for me. It was a mind twister. I was like, whoa, it was a lot. Anyways, catch me in the next one. And congratulations on your new life. I mean, really, you've come really far. Sometimes people go their whole life and they can't get to the point where you are. You know what I mean? Or if they do, it's like really late in their life. Which is a shame because of course the younger you are when you go through this, the younger you are to be able to start processing and healing and doing all that, the better off you're going to be, and the brighter your future is going to be, right? Anyways, guys, catch me in the next one. Y'all take care. Bye bye, guys.